I just want to see my balance, she said softly, clutching her worn purse with both hands. The millionaire standing behind her laughed, a short, careless sound that echoed across the marble floors of the Toronto bank. A few people turned their heads. He shook his head like it was the joke of the day. But when the screen finally lit up, the laughter drained from his face so fast it felt like the air itself had shifted. Her name was Aisha Khan. She had lived in Canada for 11 years, arriving in Mississauga with 2 suitcases, a nursing diploma that no one recognized, and a promise to her mother back home that she would make a better life. The winters were colder than anything she had imagined, and the loneliness even worse. She worked nights at a long-term care home, days at a small bakery, and weekends cleaning offices downtown. She smiled a lot, not because life was easy, but because she had learned that smiling kept people from asking too many questions. That morning, she had finally gathered the courage to go to the bank. It wasn't a big request. She didn't want a loan, didn't want advice, didn't even want help. She just wanted to see her balance. The teller nodded politely and asked her to wait a moment because the system was slow. That's when the man behind her stepped closer, impatient, expensive cologne cutting through the quiet. His tailored suit looked like it cost more than her monthly rent. Some of us have meetings to get to, he muttered loudly, checking his watch. This always happens when people come in for nothing. Aisha felt her cheeks burn. She stepped aside slightly, apologizing even though she wasn't sure why. I'm sorry, it will just take a second. He laughed then, shaking his head. Balance. On that card, trust me, you don't need to see it. Probably less than my coffee budget. A few people smiled awkwardly. No one said anything. Aisha stared at the counter, reminding herself of all the times she had swallowed worse words than this. She thought of her mother's voice on the phone, proud and tired at the same time. She thought of the residents at the care home who squeezed her hand and called her an angel. She stayed quiet. The teller finally typed in her information and turned the screen slightly toward her. Ma'am, here you go. Aisha leaned in, her heart pounding. She had checked her balance online before, but the app always froze. This was the first time she would see it clearly, without fear of a glitch. Her breath caught. The number stared back at her, steady and real. The millionaire leaned over too, curiosity pulling him closer despite himself. His smile faded. He leaned in again, squinting, then straightened abruptly. His face went pale. The balance was just over $3.4 million. The silence was heavy. The teller blinked, then smiled warmly. Congratulations, Ms. Khan. Aisha exhaled, a sound halfway between a laugh and a sob. Her hands trembled. She hadn't imagined it. It was real. The man behind her stammered. That must be some kind of error. Aisha finally turned to him. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were wet. No, it's not, she explained quietly, not to boast, but because something inside her felt lighter than it had in years. 3 years earlier, one of the elderly residents she cared for, a widowed woman with no children, had insisted on teaching her about investing. You work too hard to stay poor, the woman had said gently. When she passed away, she left Aisha a modest inheritance and detailed instructions. Aisha followed them carefully, learning, saving, reinvesting every extra dollar instead of buying things she didn't need. She never told anyone. Money felt safer as a secret. The millionaire swallowed hard. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Aisha nodded. You didn't need to know. She took her receipt, thanked the teller, and walked toward the exit. As the doors opened, cold Canadian air rushed in, sharp and clean. She paused for a moment, feeling the weight of all those nights she cried alone, all those shifts where her feet ached so badly she could barely stand. None of it felt wasted now. Behind her, the man stood frozen, staring at the counter where she had been. The laughter he came in with was gone, replaced by something quieter, heavier. Outside, Aisha pulled out her phone and called her mother. Ami, she said, her voice breaking. I'm okay. I did it. As she walked down the street, past streetcars and bundled up strangers, she realized the balance on the screen wasn't the most important thing. What mattered was that she had proved something to herself. In a country that tests you, humbles you, and sometimes overlooks you, quiet strength can still change everything. And sometimes, The people who laugh the loudest know the least about the lives standing right in front of them.